We are back on Morning Line. Thanks for joining us. Nick Barris along with Holly Ladd, health and nutrition coach. She specializes in functional medicine. She was talking about that. That's getting to the heart of what kind of medicine is needed, not just to deal with your symptoms, but to solve your problem.
Yep, get to the root of it.
That's the way it goes. Listen, if you have questions or comments, 737-7587. Call now. We got some lines open. We're going to go next to Jewel. Jewel, good morning. Hi, Jewel.
Hi. I was wanting to say, what is D2 good for?
Vitamin D2?
D2. Now, you were saying before, was that the one? Did you say
D3.
D3 was the other one.
We want to take.
So are you taking D2?
Yeah, my doctor prescribed it to me.
That's interesting. Is it in the same realm as D3 in your mind? And again, she's not a doctor.
Yeah.
But in terms of supplements, why do you say D3 instead of just a multiple D or D1 or 2?
From my understanding, and again, I am not an expert, D3 is more bioavailable. In other words, our body can absorb it better than D2.
Okay. But they both serve the same type of purpose in terms of providing what you can't get a lot of in food and when the sun's not out.
Yes, but I mean, in the functional medicine world, it's always vitamin D3. It's not vitamin D2. But your doctor may have a very good reason for why he put you on the D2, and that would be a good question for him or her to see exactly why. And this is the other thing, just on a side note. When you're going to a doctor and they put you on something, ask them why.
Yeah.
Like, start to take charge of what's going on in your body, and not just don't say, okay, I'll take it. Well, really understand why. And empower yourself. And sometimes when you understand why you're taking it, you're actually creating a mental pathway. It's like the placebo effect almost, where you're like, oh, this is good for that. And it'll actually work better actually than just kind of passively taking something.
I want to comment on that because I totally agree with you on that. That's just smart to ask. But I wanted to follow up. Are you still there, Jewel? Are you there, Jewel?
Yes.
What did he prescribe that?
Thank you so much.
Well, I was going to ask you, why did he prescribe it? For what condition, or why did he give it to you?
I have no idea why he did.
Oh, okay. So
He put me on fish oil, but that was for my cholesterol.
Yeah, that's a good one. So I would ask him about the D2 and D3.
Okay, so maybe I don't know, if she's older, maybe that's where he figures that could help be a preventative for her. Yeah, it's worth, next time you talk to him, say, hey, it's fine with D2 and I'm doing it, but would D3 be the same thing or better because it could metabolize better, which means your body would absorb it easier, maybe for one reason or other. But don't change until you run it by your doctor first. Especially since he said that. But yeah, asking questions. I asked about, I've told you this before, I've been on and off statins for a while.
Yeah.
Statin drugs are prescribed for people with high cholesterol. Mine's elevated, and some doctors would say, based on where I'm elevated, Nick, you probably should be on a statin. Well, I am not going to take a pill the rest of my life unless I just think I have to have it, right, and I'm going to die. Now, I guess keel over from a heart attack, but we've talked about this.
Yes, we have.
In terms of statins, and you kind of inspired me on this, I just questioned the doc, and I say, look, I don't want to do it.
Right.
I don't want to be on this pill. And he goes, well, you're kind of higher, but you're not. I'm not way up. There's some people that are so high, there's no question they need to be on it. And I'm like, what can I do to try to control it on my own? There's a genetic component. But I went with the diets. And I have no other risk factors. And if the only risk factor I have for heart attack is an elevated cholesterol, I'm going to live with that as opposed to take the pill. What do you think? Well,
cholesterol is a huge debate right now. And actually a meta study came out of Great Britain, not totally, but very much debunking the efficacy of statins. So, meaning that there's no debate that hardening of the arteries and thickening of cholesterol in your veins is a problem, if that occurs. Meaning that can create stroke, it can create heart attack if you've got, bypass surgery and all that. So that's real. Now, so you're saying the study's saying they're not clear on what good statins. Now, I can tell you, I have been on a statin that when I was on it after about a month or two, my cholesterol dropped dramatically in a short period. Now, does that actually mean I have less in my vein? I don't know what that really means when it drops. The number count in my blood? Well, and first of all, the body needs cholesterol, right? We don't want super low levels of cholesterol. That's not healthy for our brain, right? And what kind of cholesterol is it? Is it HDL? Is it LDL? And then there are two versions of LDL. You need a particle count. So there's all this advanced testing that you just can't take a traditional lipid panel and go, oh, you have high cholesterol, because you don't know the whole story. So you need to really do a particle count test and ask your doctor to run it. and then see what the truth is. And sure, yeah, I'm not saying go off
there's a lot
statins.
of people, I guarantee you, watching right now that are on statins, and it's made a difference, and they definitely shouldn't go off it without talking to their doctor. In my case, I'm younger, I'm pretty healthy, and I have no other risk factors, but I talked about it with him, and he was in agreement. He says, let's do this, and you come back in 6 months and see if what you do lowers it on its own. And lo and behold, it did.
Yeah,
it
awesome.
lowered the cholesterol without taking the statin. And if I can do that, that's great, because I want lower cholesterol than I have. But don't come off your statins without running it by your doctor, but definitely ask your doctor about it.
I'm not saying drop all medications.
No.
I'm just saying really get to know why you're on it, and do you need to be on it long term, and are there other things that you can do, lifestyle, nutrition, that can help support your body and maybe get you off the statin at some point, or get you off, for example, another drug that people take for years and years and years are these proton pump inhibitors, like for heartburn. And they have horrible effect. It's not something you should be on for 5 years. It's something you should be on for maybe 6 months till you right your system, because they decimate the microbiome.
Is that right? Okay.
And stomach acid, which we need as we get older.
Well, you make a good point. A lot of these you take, and statins can have side effects. Okay, muscle, liver count. Some people complain about memory issues on some of them. So there can be side effects. So if you could find another way to bring your cholesterol to a safe level without a statin, why the heck wouldn't you?
Yeah.
You know, it's funny. I have a friend who's kind of like, well, they put me on a statin, so I'm going to eat all the bacon I want. You know, and that's not a license to go off. And you know, of course, fat in your system can come from what you eat as well.
Yeah.
So that was one of the things I did, is I reduced substantially the amount of meats that red meats. And when I do eat them, they're very lean and a smaller portion, and it made a difference.
Yeah.
I still love meat, I just don't eat as much. Let's go to Amy. Hi, Amy, good morning.
Good morning.
What's on your mind?
Well, I'm loving your show and taking notes this morning, and her points about sleep and exercise, nutrition, stress management. That's definitely worth repeating. That was excellent punch list for everybody to keep in mind. My question is about women and menopause. What would your experts suggest to eat or take, or what kinds of natural things can we do to help replenish estrogen in our bodies? And in bone health, obviously calcium, especially for women, but what would her thoughts be for women, say 50 and older, to just kind of get a rein on some of those things that are changing in your mental and physical health after menopause?
Wow, great question. Thank you, Amy. All right.
Well, Amy, good question. As a woman over 50, I totally relate with your question. And, you know, I am just really not an expert, but I can point you to a couple of resources.
Okay.
The first would be Dr. Aviva Romm, R-O-M-M. She is an expert on women's health, and she's an herbologist and has amazing knowledge and information on her website.
What's her name again?
Aviva. A-V-I-V-A, Romm, R-O-M-M. She has, you know, she's the expert. She's amazing on women's health. But that said, there are certain things like diet, like reducing sugars, grains, alcohol, caffeine.
So if you would, then, when a woman's going through menopause, you know, transitioning to the point where, you know, no longer going to be in a childbearing state or anything along those lines, what are the symptoms again? Or like, what do you feel? I know, for instance, hot flashes, things like this that can come about. What are the things you want to deal with that she's probably talking about?
Well, it can. So hot flashes, one.
Right.
You can have memory loss. You can start feeling kind of spacey.
The hormones are kind of messing with you.
You can have mood alterations. You can feel sluggish. Your sleep can be very disturbed as women go through this change. You know, the other thing to consider is, you know, bioidentical hormone replacement therapy. That helps a lot of women. It helps me. So, and it's pretty safe. I mean, it's
been
not
around a while, and I know people who have used it where they've found that it's helped them to some degree.
Yeah, so talk to your doctor about that. But you want to make sure it's bioidentical and not pharmaceutical.
Okay.
So there's two different versions.
Meaning bioidentical means it comes from...
It comes...
How's it different than pharmaceutical then?
It comes from a natural source.
Okay, as opposed to something made in the lab. Okay.
How our estrogen looks in our body.
Okay.
So our body doesn't think we're taking something foreign. It looks at it and goes, oh, we know what that is.
Okay.
Whereas if you're taking like back in the old days it was Premarin, which came from horse urine or something like that. It was a different form of estrogen. Our body looked at it and was like, what is that?
Didn't know what it was.
Right. So
okay, point taken. That's great.
So yeah, but it's all the basics that you sort of talked about. The sleep, the nutrition, the exercise. Exercise is so fundamental to lifelong health and wellness. Meditation, a yoga practice, a calming practice. And of course, there are definitely some herbs and natural supplements that you can take to support menopause. I'm just not an expert in that to roll off the tip of my tongue.
But Aviva Romm.
Aviva Romm is
in her book.
She's fantastic.
Okay, good. Let's go next to Elaine. Elaine, good morning. Hi, Elaine.
Hi, I love your show.
Oh, thanks, Elaine. Thank you.
I call in quite often.
Well, I appreciate it. It's nice to hear from you.
Okay, I was calling and asking her about it's raw, unfiltered apple cider vinegar with mother. And Sarah Vital. I have the apple cider vinegar, and I just wonder, I haven't been taking it because I don't know that much about it.
Yeah, you know what? That's the same one I use. I've got the same bottle you have. I buy that too. The raw unfiltered, it's by Mother, right? Is that one of them? And there's other brands that make it, but I have the same stuff. Okay, and so you're wondering, did someone tell you about it? Or
yes.
What? Okay.
My son in Memphis, him and his wife take it, and it's dropped his cholesterol. He said it was good for diabetes. And I just wonder, how much do you take?
Great. And are you someone that can stomach a tart vinegar, or would you like to dilute it and have it in something else?
Well, now I like the sour.
Oh, good. Okay, so it'll be easier for you. Good, good. Okay, well, Holly can answer this for you because I know you're a big advocate, I think, for apple cider vinegar, aren't you?
Yeah, I mean, some people can't tolerate it.
Right.
It depends on your stomach environment, right? I prefer it diluted. I think it's very harsh on the esophagus.
Yeah, you can feel it going down, but I feel it like it feels like when it's going down, like it's burning germs. And I'm like, good, go get them. But you're right, it can be strong. So we'll just think about any kind of vinegar you're going to drink straight. It's going to kind of burn a bit.
Yeah. But
you can dilute it. It doesn't do anything.
Yeah, dilute it and put a teaspoon and a few ounces of water and boom, bring it down, or make a salad dressing with it. I mean, that's a great way to do your apple cider vinegar.
It's funny. You have this mindset of olive oil and vinegar, a vinaigrette, and you don't think apple cider. Sure, you could make your own salad dressing, and a little olive oil, a little apple cider vinegar. You throw some herbs in there, and you're eating your vinegar in your salad. Same thing.
Yeah, and then you're getting your vegetables as well.
All right, and again, she mentioned a few of the things. Apple cider vinegar, and again, it's anecdotal stories and evidence to this, but I find that it seems to help me with my digestion a bit. I think it maybe helps a little bit with just in terms of when I feel a cold coming on, I'll have some apple cider vinegar, and I have it every day with some of my honey. And I just take a little teaspoon of that and down with a little cinnamon.
Yeah. So honey, especially Manuka honey. It has really beneficial antimicrobial benefits.
And Manuka, I've seen that many times. And again, I have beehives. I have my own honey, which is local, but Manuka is more medicinal, is it? Or is it?
Yeah, it comes from a specific tree or area in Australia. I mean,
and it's supposed to have, meaning wherever you get it from, when you get it, it's going to have that property. And it's supposed to help what? It's got
antimicrobials, so it's good for fighting viruses and bacteria, and it's just an immune booster.
Now I'm not sure. Again, if it's helping him with his cholesterol, I certainly believe him when he says it. It's not a substitute for, say, if he was on a statin. I mean, it can help, but I'm not sure that apple cider vinegar alone is something that's going to lower your cholesterol. I bet he's doing other things too to help himself.
Right. I mean, this is the point, right? There's no one thing. This is the problem with our culture.
We all want one pill that does it all.
We want one thing, right? What's the one thing that I can do? It's like, well, you can't just do one thing. You have to do a bunch of things, like staying healthy in cold and flu season. It's not just taking vitamin D3. It's not just eating fermented food. It's not just sleeping. It's all of these things. It's not just exercising. You've got to, you talked about it. Do we have to do all these things? Yeah. Do you have to do them perfectly? No, but you kind of have to pay attention to all of them.
Okay. And when she said about dosage, what would you recommend for someone getting started? She's probably got that big jug like I do. I don't measure it anymore. I just kind of pour it into my drink and then swallow it down with everything else. You can't overdose or get sick from it. I mean, I suppose if you drank a whole bottle, your stomach would get upset. How much would you recommend she starts with, maybe?
Like a teaspoon. I wouldn't go more than a teaspoon to
a
start.
bit in the morning, maybe again at night or something like that?
Yeah, and then build up to a tablespoon if you can tolerate it, but you don't need any more than that.
That's really about it then. It's concentrated.
Yeah.
All right, did you say we need to take a break, Mary Elena? Yes, let's take a break. When we come back, our final segment with Holly Ladd. If you want to jump in, take some more calls before we have to say goodbye right after this. Stay with us.